Many people still want to have an online presence, identity, and persona, but don't want to deal with all the privacy, spyware, manipulative, forced fake crap on social media apps. But what about before social media apps? Before social media apps, there were websites, forums, blogs, and RSS feeds. They still exist, and they are sort of getting a mini revival of all the current social media mess. The idea is called the personal web, or web revival, or the small web. It's called a lot of different things. So I created a map for it. In part 1, we're going to just go through the basics, and in part 2, I'm going to actually go through on how to set it up. And then you can decide whether you care or not. Websites. So apps are a problem. A personal website allows you to express yourself much more than an app. An app confines you to a space. It confines your freedom of thought, expression, speech, and rights. Websites don't confine you to a space. They don't confine you to a group, to an ideology, to an echo chamber. You can build your website anywhere and host it on a million different services. You can literally create anything you want on your website. The possibilities are endless. There's so much freedom in this that people just do not understand. And it's very, very diverse. You can go about it in so many different ways, and there's a lot of different philosophies out there. I love seeing all the different types of websites out there, and I'm blown away by what people are able to create. What about social media censorship? Well, you can write out all your thoughts in these things called blogs. Blogs are often hosted on websites and are much less prone to censorship. Imagine being able to share your thoughts out and essays to the world on your own platform. No need for short, witty, fake, angry microblogs anymore. No need for companies banning your account because they didn't like what you said. You can pretty much say whatever the hell you want in whatever format you want, and nothing can get buried because, again, it's on your website. There is sort of an authenticity to blogs that you don't find on traditional social media. It feels more genuine and real because you can actually talk about things in a long, unfiltered format that critically assess things that you would otherwise not be able to. Everyone complains that social media is fake or whatever. Personal websites are honest, as Eden would say. There's no need to lie on here. People are honest and don't really care about likes or followers or whatever crap, and I hope it stays that way. I've read more honest blogs and articles than anything I've ever seen on social media. It's a remarkable, starking difference. Everyone complains about social media algorithms, right? This half-baked AI algorithm that controls your brains and manipulates you to control your ego, to support a corporation that is harming society and harming people to sell more products. But with RSS feeds, you can get the content without the algorithm, without the ads, without the tracking. There's no half-baked AI algorithm in there. There's no garbage. You get to decide what you want to see. There's no more overbloated garbage on Google. You can use an RSS reader to read them all, and if you are so inclined, they do have them for your phone as well. Web rings. One of the biggest reasons people use social media is to find people. Web rings usually consist of a group or a club of people that have their own websites. They can be good if they are part of an active community. The better ones are going to be more blog-orientated or forum-orientated, where they're working on projects and they're talking and engaging with each other. Where they go wrong is when they have no bare minimum effort to joining them, and then they get overbloated with hundreds of different websites. And then there's really no point in joining them. Buttons. Buttons are fucking cool, and I think they're much better than the follow button. They also help with bot accounts and AI accounts. It's cool to add them and add friends you made to your website. You can go to them and talk with them and engage with them. Comment sections on social media really suck. The comment chains are terrible. They can be really fake and nasty and toxic and mean, and They can create groups and echo chambers and propaganda and gaslighting and garbage and forums. Forums are much better, and I'm glad that more people are engaging with them. I've talked about forums in another video, but they are kind of part of the personal web because they're on websites, not on apps, and I do like them and like their medium. Messaging. Okay, messaging needs more work, and the messaging technology, more protocols are being built. The technology is slowly getting better, but it needs more work. Internet relay chats, I do really like. It's anonymous. You can build it into your website. It's really, really cool. Now, is the personal web better than traditional social media? I would say psychologically yes, because it forces you to be a lot more independent and not rely on people as much. But it's very variable and it depends on the person. The personal web does a better job with social media algorithms, freedom of expression, social censorship, privacy and security issues. It's better at fighting bots. I can be whoever I want. I can have my own identity, and I am free from corporate narratives, from corporate ideologies, from propaganda, from corporate control centers. So I've outlined some principles for the personal web to generally make it better and stir things in the right direction. I would take this seriously, but then again, I wouldn't. A lot of people have written things very similar to this and so forth. So there are two types of people that build personal websites. There is the person that puts a website up and never updates it again, and then there's the person that continually updates it every now and then. If you're one of the people that just puts it up and never updates it again, then I would suggest a one-page site. It's kind of like a website that shows all your accounts. It's the easiest thing in the world. And then you'll always have a site regardless of whatever happens to your accounts. There are a couple ones you can go out and try: Linkstack, omg.law, and Card. There are tutorials on all of them. Then there are the people that actually want to build a website. I really recommend against a website builder. People starting out will think a website builder is easier than HTML and CSS. I completely disagree. If you want to learn HTML and CSS, it takes like 2 weeks at most to learn. Once you know it, it's so much easier than a website builder. A website builder makes things a lot more difficult than they need to be. I highly recommend against website builders. But if you are going to go out and build a website with a website builder, I would recommend WordPress.org, not the .com one. If you are going to build a website using HTML and CSS, not a one-page or a blogging page, for hosting, I would use a static site hosting service. And I would start off with NeoCities and then move towards GitHub pages or GitLab pages or Codeberg pages, in combination with Git and Visual Studio. If you want to go further than that, I would recommend against using cloud and traditional hosting, and I would go straight to self-hosting. Also, I would highly recommend downloading your entire site and mounting it to your computer, and then making external backups of it like every 6 months or so. There are tutorials on this that you can check out, but basically it makes it so if the service gets hacked or dies, you still have a backup of your entire site, and you can always go back and retrieve it and host it on a different service. If you go back to the map, there are millions of tools to get you started, and there are millions of tutorials out there, but there's no teacher out there quite like experience. You kind of have to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. You also may have to purchase a domain name for your site. It's like $10 a year on Porkbun. It's not that hard. Make an account, then connect the domain name service to your website. Some people don't want to build an entire website. They don't want to learn all this stuff, but they still want to put out their thoughts and write essays and write personal blogs and publish articles and all that good stuff. There are very simple blogging building services for that. I personally recommend Bear Blogs, Write As, Zonelets, It's my favorite. I love all the different themes. I think it's so cool. You also have weblog.lol, although it's very new. There's a lot of advice around blogging, like what's right, what's wrong. I think it's great therapy. It's much healthier for your brain than a lot of other things. So if you have an emotional problem, instead of going out and trying to make other people miserable and doing and saying things you'll probably regret, write a blog post. Take care of yourself. Write your thoughts out and express yourself, what you're truly feeling. By doing this, like little bits every day, it's going to make those emotional problems a lot less of an issue, where you can practice self-acceptance and self-growth. It's like working out. It's like a really good mental exercise for you. I'm a big supporter of it. There are a bunch of dedicated blogging hosting services that are dedicated to just hosting different blogs. So you can take your blog and host it on their community. It's really cool to see all the different types of communities just dedicated to blogging and writing. RSS. There are a couple RSS readers out there. I personally recommend Fluent Reader or Reader 5. For Fluent Reader, if I click on one of the articles, I get the entire article through the RSS reader. And every time the blogger updates their blog, this will update and I will get a new blog post. It's very nice. You can have entire groups dedicated to certain blogs, like computer science or even podcasts. If you want to get YouTube channels, just use Invidious. Click the RSS feed button, it's right there. To add one for every website and for every blog, look for this orange button Wi-Fi feed symbol sort of thing. It's either on the top of the website or the bottom of the website or in the About page or in the Links page. If you can't find it, type feed or RSS or index.xml in the URL. Sometimes you'll get lucky. Either two things will happen. Either you will get the URL and it will look something like this, or it will download some file to your computer. All you have to do is copy the URL that allowed that file to download to your computer. Use Inspect Element, click on the little mouse button up here, and click on the Wi-Fi symbol or URL or whatever, and then copy this URL. Once you have that URL copied, simply paste it into the RSS reader. You can do a little bit of tinkering around with RSS readers. You can block some words or phrases or whatever you want for a healthier consumer diet. But how do you actually create an RSS feed for your site? That is a really good question. If you're working on a blogging service or static site generator, they usually generate them for you. If you are writing in HTML and CSS, then you'll have to do it manually, which is actually pretty straightforward. Basically, all you need is an XML file on your site. I would recommend the main directory, but it could be anywhere. Usually the file is called index.xml, but it doesn't matter as long as it's an XML file. I created a template file for you to get started. Under Projects, under Social Media, under Individual Projects, under the Personal Web, you will see an RSS template. Click on the RSS template. A file will download to your computer. Then open that file with your chosen application and edit the file. Most of it is already done for you. You literally just have to put in a couple links. You have the title, which is the title of your website. Then you have the Atom link, which is where the XML file is located. In this case, it's located in my home directory. Then you have the description, in this case blog posts, and then the language, which in this case it's English. For the build date, you want to constantly update this link and add it to your XML file every time you update your blogs. Simply go to timestampgenerator.com and copy the date under the RFC 2822 and just paste it here. And then just do the same thing for timestamp. Just copy the timestamp and paste it under the TTL. Just make sure to update the timestamp and date links every single time you update the XML file. If you actually want to add a blog post, what you need is an item tag. I usually just copy and paste these every single time. It's very simple. In between the title tags, add the title of the blog post in between the link tags, add a URL to the blog post, and in between the description tags, in between the CData brackets, paste the HTML code of the blog, not the CSS, just the HTML. Also, if you have images, make sure to use the full URL, not just the directory URL. Under the publish date, use the timestamp generator to generate a date for when the blog was published. Use RFC 2822. And then for guild, use the same URL you used for link. It's basically the link to your blog post. And that's it. Just make sure to be consistent for every blog post. It's really not that bad. It takes like a minute or two for me to do. Setting it up is the hard part. I really recommend doing this manually. I'm against generators. It's kind of like the same deal with website builders. It's just way easier to manually do it and set it up than use these services. If you are going to do this consistently, I highly recommend doing it this way, but it's really up to you. One more thing, I would highly recommend against writing a blog in Markdown, React code, or some other JavaScript framework or some crap. I think it's overkill and it overcomplicates things too much. So let's talk about some tools you can use for finding personal websites. This is all in the map. If I search anything on Google, I will get corporate SEO, AI, overbloated garbage that I don't want to see. But I can use a different, better search engine instead, like Marginalia. If I search mushrooms on Marginalia, I can filter it by popular, small web, blogs, academia, vintage, wikis, forums, docs, recipes. And I find this so much better for finding good websites. I can use it for so many different things, so many different topics that when I originally used Google, I would get so much garbage, but with this, I can actually get cool sites that I like, that I enjoy, that I'll enjoy reading. And I'll discover cool things that I never knew even existed. Like, look at this, I found a cool synthwave theme for Visual Studio. This is so much better, and most people have no idea this even exists. Like 90% of people still use Google. You also have Webby, where people will submit individual websites they like that aren't bloated. And then if you search a term, you will find that term on those individual websites. You also have a bunch of others like Curly and Kagi, which is paid. You need an account, but I've heard good stuff about it. And there's also Search My Site. So there are search engines for the personal web if you want to find websites. Let's talk about some resources. So this will show you all the resources to get you started with the personal web. It was built by the 32-Bit Cafe community, who specializes in trying to make the personal web better and more accessible. They're always changing it and adding links. It's very, very nice. They have various links for HTML, services, graphics, programs, and alternatives. Going back to the topic of communities, there are a lot of communities for the personal web. I already talked about the 32-Bit Cafe community. They have a website, you can check them out, but there's also the Indie Web. They do sort of the exact same thing. It's another community of independent personal site owners. They have a Mastodon instance called indieweb.social where all the personal website owners have Mastodon accounts. I do like their principles, and I think it would be wise to follow some of them. So if you want to message people, before Discord, there were internet relay chats and XMPP servers. They still exist, believe it or not. I've seen a couple personal websites use them as contact info, so I think it's important to still go through them. So I have both internet relay chat and XMPP guides on my website and on the map. Either way, you can find them in the same locations as everything else. For internet relay chats, as for what clients you should get, I've seen people recommend terminal clients as the best. I've heard WeChat is a little better than IRC RSSI, but you can't really go wrong with either. As far as servers go, I've heard Libria Chat is the most popular, but I'm sure all of these are fine as well. As far as XMPP goes, I've heard good things about all these clients and servers, although 404.city especially looks pretty cool. WebRings. I've added these pretty recently. Most of them should work. If you want to see more lists, go to Ray WebRings list. He collects them all. Some advice: don't join a lot. Don't join big ones or inactive ones. Join small ones. Join ones where there is an active community centered around some activity like blogging or a forum or whatever, where they work hard and actually put in effort and talk to people. It's kind of like a club, meaning the smaller and more active and more hobby-based it is, the better. To actually join them, just follow the rules, and then all you need to do is add the HTML or JavaScript button or whatever the hell to your website. If you want to actually build your own, there are a lot of resources out there for it. There's a starter kit on GitHub where you can just fork the code. I highly recommend BizRay's site. He talks all about WebRings. Other than that, I feel like I have pretty much gone through as many things as possible to get you started. Again, I will constantly update this map with new links or resources or anything else I find. I also want to say that yes, everyone's website looks like crap in the beginning. It takes a little bit before you get it to where you want it, and even then, it probably still could use a couple updates. Some of the best websites you see out there have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of updates. So this is the sort of thing you have to keep updating every couple of days or weeks or so forth. If that sort of thing doesn't appeal to you, then don't build one. Build a one-page site instead. Other than that though, the personal web isn't for everyone, but for the people that can build it into their lifestyle, it's a great alternative to the traditional corporate narrative that we're told.